Welcome to the show, folks. Today, we're diving deep into the dark world of drug trafficking. We're talking about the most dangerous, the most ruthless, the most infamous drug dealers in history. These individuals have left a lasting impact on the world through their ruthless operations and criminal empires. We're talking billions of dollars, tons of cocaine, and a level of violence that's hard to even comprehend. Get ready to have your mind blown as we explore the lives of these criminal masterminds. We're going to talk about how they built their empires, the crazy shit they did to stay in power, and ultimately how it all came crashing down. First up, we've got Pablo Escobar, the man who needs no introduction. This guy was the kingpin of the Medellin cartel, responsible for up to 80% of the cocaine smuggled into the United States in the 1980s. Can you even imagine that? 80%. Escobar was making, get this, an estimated $420 million a week. That's insane. He was one of the richest men alive, and he used his wealth to build his own empire. We're talking private zoos, mansions, you name it. This dude lived like a king, but his wealth came at a cost, a serious cost. Escobar was responsible for countless murders, bombings, and acts of terror. He waged a full-blown war against the Colombian government, and he didn't hesitate to take out anyone who stood in his way. This wasn't just some small-time operation, man. We're talking about a level of violence that's almost unimaginable. Escobar was a straight-up psychopath, and he ruled his empire with an iron fist. He was so powerful, the Colombian government had to negotiate with him, even building him his own prison, La Catedral, to avoid extraditing him to the US. I mean, who gets to negotiate the terms of their own imprisonment? It's insane. But just like any other empire built on violence and corruption, Escobar's reign eventually came to an end. He was gunned down by Colombian police in 1993. Escobar's story is a wild ride, man. It's a testament to the power of greed, ambition, and the devastating effects of the drug trade. Next up, we've got another legend in the drug game, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. This guy was the head honcho of the Sinaloa cartel, one of the most powerful and sophisticated drug trafficking organizations the world has ever seen. El Chapo was known for his ruthlessness and his incredible ability to evade capture. This dude escaped from prison not once but twice. The first time he bribed his way out, hiding in a laundry cart. The second time he escaped through a mile-long tunnel dug right into his prison cell. It's like something out of a movie. El Chapo's story is crazy, man. He rose from humble beginnings to become one of the most wanted men on the planet. He was a logistical genius, smuggling tons of cocaine, heroin, and marijuana into the United States. But his success came at a high price. El Chapo was responsible for countless murders, kidnappings, and acts of violence. He ruled his empire with an iron fist, and he didn't hesitate to eliminate anyone who stood in his way. The guy was a complete badass, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, he even met with Sean Penn while he was on the run. Who does that? But even the most powerful drug lords eventually fall. After a series of close calls, El Chapo was finally captured in 2016 and extradited to the United States, where he's currently serving a life sentence. El Chapo's story is a wild one, man. It's a testament to the power of the human will, the allure of wealth and power, and the incredible lengths people will go to for both. Now, let's talk about Frank Lucas, the original American gangster. This guy was a true product of the streets, rising from poverty to become one of the biggest heroin dealers in American history. Lucas was different from some of these other guys. He cut out the middleman, going straight to the source in Southeast Asia to get his heroin. He called it blue magic, and it was some of the purest, most potent heroin on the market. Lucas was making millions of dollars a week, and he lived a life of luxury. He was friends with celebrities, athletes, politicians, you name it. He was living the American dream, but it was all built on a mountain of heroin. But Lucas's empire was built on violence too. He was ruthless in protecting his turf and eliminating his rivals. He was a cold-blooded killer, and he didn't hesitate to do whatever it took to stay on top. What's wild is that Lucas was eventually brought down by a joint task force led by a black detective named Richie Roberts. Roberts was a straight shooter in a corrupt system, and he was determined to bring Lucas to justice. Lucas's story is a classic tale of rise and fall. It's a story about ambition, greed, and the seductive power of the American dream, even when it's built on a foundation of crime and violence. Let's talk about Griselda Blanco, aka the Black Widow, one of the most ruthless and feared drug lords of all time. This woman was a pioneer in the cocaine trade, smuggling tons of the stuff into the United States in the 1970s and 80s. Blanco was a total badass. She was known for her violence, her ruthlessness, and her complete disregard for human life. She was rumored to be responsible for over 200 murders, and she didn't hesitate to take out anyone who crossed her, including family members and former lovers. This woman was cold-blooded. She was a master of disguise, a skilled businesswoman, and a ruthless killer. She earned the nickname the Black Widow because of the many men in her life who ended up dead. Blanco was a product of the streets. She grew up in poverty in Medellin, Colombia, and she learned to survive by being tougher and more ruthless than anyone else. She saw the cocaine trade as her way out, and she wasn't afraid to do whatever it took to get to the top. But her reign of terror couldn't last forever. She was eventually arrested and spent nearly 2 decades in prison before being deported back to Colombia. She was gunned down in 2012 in a drive-by shooting, a fitting end to a life of violence. Griselda Blanco's story is a dark and twisted tale of ambition, greed, and the corrosive effects of power. Finally, we have Freeway Rick Ross, a name synonymous with the crack epidemic that ravaged America in the 1980s. This dude wasn't your typical drug lord. He was a charismatic figure who cultivated an image of Robin Hood, giving back to the community while simultaneously flooding it with crack cocaine. Ross's story is tragic, a clear example of how the war on drugs backfired, disproportionately impacting black communities. He rose from an illiterate kid who couldn't read or write to running a multi-million-dollar drug empire. He was moving unbelievable amounts of cocaine, turning it into crack and distributing it across the country. He was making millions of dollars a day, and he lived a life of luxury surrounded by cars, women, and all the trappings of success. But Ross's empire was built on addiction and misery. He was a master marketer, understanding the power of branding and image. He used his wealth to portray himself as a benefactor, even as he profited from the destruction of his community. His downfall came not from a rival gang or a daring police raid, but from the very system he exploited. He was set up in a sting operation by a Nicaraguan drug trafficker working with the CIA, a scandal that rocked the nation. Freeway Rick Ross's story is a cautionary tale of ambition, the allure of easy money, and the devastating impact of the crack epidemic on American society. Man, we've covered some seriously heavy stuff today. These drug dealers, these kingpins, they weren't just businessmen. They were forces of nature, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. These drug dealers have left a dark legacy that continues to impact society today. The war on drugs, the violence, the addiction, it's all connected to the empires these individuals built. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. And let me know in the comments who you think was the most notorious drug lord of all time. Until next time, stay curious, folks.